That's weird. That's weird. Kind of weirding me out.
You are a sad, strange little man.
Crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy.
Isn't that weird?
That's weird, man.
It's strange.
What's up, campers? Welcome back to episode 66 of Camp Strange. I am your camp counselor, Alex Tobin.
And I'm the other camp counselor, David Stokes.
And we're back to bring the spooky, wild, weird, wacky, strange, and western
yeah.
bacon cheeseburger.
I had one yesterday, yeah.
You put some onion rings on there, and now it's from Texas.
So I was just doing the math.
Quick maths. What math were you doing over there?
That our 69th episode will land on Friday the 13th of December.
No.
Oh, yeah. The countdown begins.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
It's lucky 69. Look at that.
Or unlucky 69.
Or unlucky, depending how you want to interpret this.
Depends on what position you're in there.
If you're the 6 or the 9, pretty equal. But before we get into our longer stories that we have for you today, we like to keep you up on the weird, strange news that inhabits this planet. And, Dave, you want to go first? You want me to go first?
I would love to go first.
Okay, you go first.
So, as Epstein died...
Oh, yes, he did die.
The guards allegedly shopped online and slept.
Oh, they shopped online?
And slept. Isn't that just convenient?
So I know there was a big controversy recently with they were filling out the logs and saying that they checked on them for every 30 minutes, and then they just found out that they falsified those records and that they did not check up on them, which only the Epstein didn't kill himself. It only perpetuates that that rumor or conspiracy theory, which may be true.
I wouldn't call it fucking conspiracy.
It's honestly it feels more and more true now that this is happening.
It hasn't felt more and more truth than the day it happened because that he did not kill himself.
Okay, I mean, well, I was talking to somebody at work about this, and because this is work talk, you know.
Of course.
But I was like, honestly, they had him on like suicide watch, and I was like, if you wanted to kill somebody, you would definitely like throw them in suicide watch. He's like, I'm not suicidal. And they're like, we're throwing you in there because we're gonna kill you in a week or a day.
He was about to just tear our entire government down,
and they killed him.
Jeffrey Epstein did not kill himself. Just putting that out there.
We're gonna get shot right now.
Maybe.
David, so they're gonna come in. David, you're on a suicide watch.
Yeah,
now.
You guys are both on suicide watch.
Wait, so what were they shopping for though?
That's the thick rope, poison.
But you got to use silk rope.
Silk?
Oh wait, no silk. No wait, he hanged himself.
Allegedly.
Gun that makes it look like you hanged yourself. That's in their Amazon history.
Yeah.
So and they slept. Well, those guys are fucked. Those guys are going to prison, and
oh, they won't.
You don't think so?
No, they're not going to be punished.
I mean, they're going to lose their jobs for sure.
No, they're not.
Okay. Yes, David.
They're going to be. They're going straight into politics.
Okay. You're freaking me out right now. Okay, let's get into this next news story. As Kentucky man married his daughter after they killed her Minnesota boyfriend.
Okay. So
that's a lot to unpack, but this guy, his daughter was he's 55-year-old Larry McClure, and he
come on now, Larry.
Come on, Larry, why'd you do that? But he ended up killing. I guess he had an incestuous relationship with his daughter, who already had a boyfriend. His name was John McGuire, and he was 38. And apparently, it was the daughter's idea, and they went over and across state lines, and they found him. And how do you think they got him? How do you think they killed him? It was really interesting that where'd it go? It's really interesting how they. Oh, here it is. What do you think? How do you think they did him in?
I know exactly how they did it. Oh, close to rope, close. They tied his shoelaces together.
Oh.
It was just supposed to be a fun little prank to scare him away.
And they put him in a room full of mouse traps.
One too many mouse traps.
They got him. So they actually hit him in the head with a wine bottle.
Okay.
Tied him up.
Was it full or empty?
I'm guessing full.
Yeah.
You want a little oomph behind it.
Yeah.
Tied him up, and then they injected him with meth, and then strangled him. So do you think that they were trying to, like, overdose him, and it didn't work? Or do you think they were like...
Yeah, they probably tried to make it look like he overdosed.
Yeah, that's
Was
what I'm
he
thinking.
a meth user?
I mean... I don't know. They're in Kentucky. Is
Okay.
anybody from I'm just trying to pinpoint this. Where do they use meth a lot? I don't know.
Everywhere.
It's true. But yeah, I don't know if he was a meth user. I'm guessing that maybe. Or maybe they were just sending him out with a bang, and they're like,
They just had some meth laying around. They're like, let's just use this.
Well, I think there's also, if you're on meth, it's probably easier to strangle you because you get all like, I don't know what meth does. You why?
No. If he's on heroin, he'd be easy to strangle.
Oh, that's what
if
I'm
he's on
thinking.
meth, he's gonna be like ripping the space-time continuum. He's gonna be opening portals with his swings.
Meth guy killed Jeffrey Epstein. Did he just let meth guy in the room with him? Jeffrey's like, I'm sorry, man.
All they could say was a bear was let loose.
They told me you have a cheeseburger.
Yeah. A Western bacon cheese. That triple stack Western bacon cheese.
Full circle. Anyway, Western bacon cheese. I like that. The Tenacious D reference. Right there.
Yeah.
What's your next news story?
This one
This is so stupid.
This one might be one of the best of all time.
Oh, okay.
Julia Roberts was, quote, first choice to play Harriet Tubman.
Okay, we talked about this in the office today too. That is too stupid to be real.
Yeah, it has to be.
No, it's too stupid, right?
You would think so.
It's almost like a rumor that people are like, I want to see how far this can go because everybody knows who Harriet Tubman is.
Yes. And if you don't, I don't know, read a book.
And everybody knows who Julia Roberts is, right?
Yeah. She played a prostitute.
It's true. It's true, but like that guy must have not read the Harriet script at all because I heard one thing, especially with like the new steps they're taking to put people of color in like the actual movies that represent people of color, that I heard that this movie was maybe written or in the process of being made like years ago, and maybe in like the 80s they were like, yeah, let's put Julia Roberts in there because she's hot right now.
Yeah.
But even then, imagine Julia Roberts like running onto a plantation and be like, everybody come with me, we gotta get out of here, and then the guy catches them and is like,
Yeah,
you're a slave.
The movie came out in 1994.
Unless they're gonna put her in blackface, which would have been horrible to begin with.
Her career would have been done.
Yeah.
I don't think she would have even said yes.
Like, what is the point? It almost seems like a thing. Like, let's just see how far this can go.
I do find it fun that the actress Cynthia Erivo, who actually got the lead role as Harriet Tubman, is a British woman.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I always find that fun when like British people play like American heroes.
See, I would have liked to watch the movie first, then found that out and been like, whoa.
Wait, that was Julia Roberts?
First time I saw Daniel Craig was in a movie called The Jacket, and he played a crazy guy. And then I found out that he was James Bond, and I was like, oh, fuck, that guy's not American. That's crazy. Because the American accents from England are really good, but I feel like
the main character from The Walking Dead.
Oh, Andrew Lincoln.
Yeah, the guy that plays
He was
played.
He was in that rom-com.
Yeah.
I don't
Who
remember.
knows?
Like
Simply Love. There you go.
That sounds about right. He's holding up the sign that says like, "Will you simply love me?"
Exactly. See, Simply Love. But yeah, no, he's one of those guys that like when you watch that show, you're like, that guy's got to be from like Tennessee or something.
Yeah.
But no, he's a Brit. I guess we do have like the easiest accent to imitate that people he probably grew up making fun of us Yankees.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
Remember when he held the sign up in the movie that says, "I'm on meth, where's your cheeseburgers?"
I do remember that
and
one.
then she started running.
He was just scratching everything.
And then it became 28 days later.
And then it turned into The Walking Dead. And then he lost his hand. Did they ever cut his hand off in that show? Because I think he's dead now, isn't he?
I can't give away all the... No. I don't want to do any spoilers.
But did they cut his hand off in the show? Because they cut his hand off pretty early in the books.
Okay, you're just going to do the spoilers. Yeah, they cut his hand off in the...
Okay,
in the
who gives a
comics.
shit? He cut his hand off. Okay.
And then they didn't do it in the show because they said it would be too difficult, I think.
They still shot Carl.
Well, they cut off Merle's hand. Jesus Christ.
I don't care anymore.
The Walking Dead, actually, the comics just finished. I just read the last one.
How'd it end?
I don't want to tell you.
You can tell me after.
No. And let me just tell you this last
Once they
story.
killed, what's his face, I stopped reading.
Anyways, turn off your phone. So murderer who briefly died in hospital goes to court to claim he served his life sentence.
I saw that, and like, is he wrong?
I mean, so this guy named Benjamin Schreiber, 66, was convicted of beating a man to death in 1997, which is like a really bad one. Like beating someone to death is like,
Yeah, that's on the high end of the list.
that's worse than tearing them apart for a cheeseburger.
Beating someone to death is worse than shooting someone.
Yeah, it's more intimate, you know. But
Because he could have stopped.
and it also shows like rage, and you like used your hands. That means like you
It wasn't a one single motion. And
you were
he
there for a while.
pummeled him.
Yeah, so apparently his heart stopped 5 times in the hospital in March of 2015.
Oh, so he's served 5 life sentences
apparently
by his math.
But he had a do not resuscitate, which is kind of weird.
Well, that's malpractice.
I don't really know like why they even brought him back. But
They're like, this guy deserves a second chance.
well, like he was in the hospital, and then like they told, this is a very confusing article, but they called his brother, and his brother's like he's in pain, and he's like, oh, give him whatever for the pain. So like they got like,
We'll just bring him back to life.
if your brother, he's so in pain that he's dead.
Yeah.
But if your brother or somebody like a loved one says like bring him back to life, does that completely negate your do not resuscitate?
No, I don't believe so. Unless I believe that there's like one name you can have on like your listing for that, but I don't. I think if you say do not resuscitate, I don't think anything can overrule that because that's your own personal choice.
Yeah, I don't know, but he argued that he was sentenced to life, not to life plus 1 day after the day he had the heart attack or whatever, or just died. And the court was like, no, that's not, because the court said in their final statement, Schreiber is either alive, in which case he must remain in prison, or he is dead, in which case this appeal is moot. So there's like,
There you go.
You beat a man to death. Sorry, dude. Just because you're also ill all the time doesn't mean that you get out of this.
Yeah.
But it is a cool little like, let me try this.
Mm-hmm.
Let me try to blow the baseball to foul. You know, remember that thing? It was back in like the 70s. A ball was rolling up the third baseline, and the pitcher ran over and blew it foul. He was like,
See, I don't
it
know
went
these.
foul.
I don't know these baseball things. I'm from Oregon, where we don't play baseball.
Well,
it rains too much.
you guys don't have
I also
baseball.
heard today that some guy on acid threw a perfect game, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh, Pittsburgh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forget his name, but the guy blew the ball foul, and then they're like, I guess it's foul, and like the next day they're like, that can't happen again.
Yeah.
So that
That's
guy
your
tried
one
to
time.
pull a baseball blow foul, but
That
didn't
boy's
work.
got some strong lungs.
He does.
I feel like
Anyway.
that's still like I don't think physically you could do that.
Baseballs were lighter back then.
No, I don't know.
Breath was plentiful. And
must have hit a
baseballs
pebble.
were lighter. You know
Yeah.
how it works. No, it was still rolling.
Go
That-
Astros,
that's,
right?
That's why he was able to do it. I think it was like still kind of rolling. It wasn't like a dead ball, but I don't know.
Yeah.
There's footage. You can find it.
footy.
You can find it. Anyway, we're caught up on the news, I think.
I have one more.
Okay, what is it?
New Idris Elba wasp species could protect global broccoli crops.
Idris Elba wasp
And the
species.
the thumbnail is just Idris with 2 thumbs up smiling.
He like broccoli.
Well, so I guess some scientists found a new species of wasps and decided to name them after Idris Elba.
Is that because?
He's the most handsome man alive, possibly.
Well, also because his name kind of sounds like a species. It sounds like a
It
little bit
does.
Latin, like Idris Elba.
It does for
because
sure.
if you're gonna be like real about it, you should have named it like Evangeline Lilly because like she is the wasp.
Now, I don't know when they named the damn bug.
Well, Idris Elba hasn't been famous for that long. He was Charles Minor in The Office, and I didn't know who Idris Elba was.
What? He was in The Wire.
Oh, that's true. He was. I didn't watch The Wire.
Yeah.
Fuck. I'm a has-been.
But basically, there is a some nasty little critter who's been eating up all the broccoli crops.
Oh, that meth mouse.
Oh, that little meth mouse. He's been eating up all them broccoli crops.
You got no cheeseburgers, but I'll settle for some broccoli.
But long story short, this wasp has been eating those nasty little bugs who have been killing all of our broccoli.
Oh.
And yes, and I guess it was the global broccoli crops. You know where those are.
It's like the tree in Avatar, but it's just a big broccoli.
It's just one big old broccoli.
Oh, that's amazing.
They call it the Brock.
Well, it's actually really interesting too because
Dwayne the Brock Johnson.
Idris Elba actually eats a lot of bugs. I think that's what they.
I think he eats a lot of broccoli, but boy, you went with another BR word.
No. Brugs. So you guys, Brugs are eating broccoli, guys.
My name's Broccoli Bruggs, and I'm the best damn pitcher you've ever seen.
I'm the best wrestler in all this county. Broccoli Brugs. Fuck. Okay. Should we end the fuck? You guys are listening to this. What are you doing?
We're now writing for Dr. Steve Brule. Broccoli Bruggs.
Oh, sweet berry wine. Okay.
Let's move on.
Yeah. You guys like coffee? We do.
Yeah, it's like coffee.
Brewed coffee.
We can start adding R's into every word.
Yeah, for sure. But if you guys like coffee, go check out Spring Hill Jack. They got good coffee. It's fun. It's delicious. It's brown. It's for you. It's for me. It's for broccoli. And it's for Idris.
It is for Idris.
How do you think Idris eats all those bugs so fast? Coffee.
Tell you what, it's not because he's handsome. It's because of the coffee.
That's the bugs make him handsome, but
That's
the coffee
true.
makes him fast.
Yeah. Put it on a shirt. That better be on his Wikipedia page.
I'm pretty sure this is the bugs made me handsome, but the coffee made me fast. Oh my
man.
god. Okay, we're done.
Yeah.
SpringHillJack.coffee. Go check them out. They got
Should I play the outro?
they got good coffee, so go check them out. Okay, now we should get into these stories that we got.
Mm-hmm.
Now, David, growing up in the Pacific Northwest,
Mm-hmm.
did you ever explore the vast Oregon woods looking for little critters like brugs, secret hideouts, or just adventure in general?
I grew up in the woods.
What do you mean?
Um,
I don't know if you're making a joke or not.
no, like when I grew up, my family's house was like the only house for maybe like a mile into the woods.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so yeah, I spent a lot of time in the woods, eating bugs.
It explains a lot.
Yeah, and I didn't like electricity much.
Shadows were my friends. So, well, David, if you were a better explorer, then you wouldn't be talking to me right now. You would be lounging on your yacht, drinking Bang energy drinks, and eating a salami stick. I say
Can
this.
we get an Angry Whopper in there?
Okay, you get an Angry Whopper. I say this because some believe that in those dense woods lies a treasure not as old as most treasure, but a modern-day treasure. A treasure, how many times am I going to say treasure?
Not enough.
A treasure that is still yet to be found, and most importantly, a treasure that has a complicated and mysterious story behind it.
Oh, now I know what we're talking about.
This is the story of D.B. Cooper and his long-lost treasure. I finally get to tell this story.
Yeah, I fucked up. I thought you already told it, so that's why I did last week's.
This was our first episode ever, and we ended up nixing the episode because we didn't like it.
It was bad.
And
I redid my first story.
what was your first story again?
It was the cult in the canyon.
Oh, that's right. Bull Canyon. Bull
I
Turn.
don't know how you.
Bull
I don't
turn.
remember this shit, and I wrote it and told it twice.
Bull Turn.
I need to like see a doctor. I don't remember anything.
But I finally get to tell the D.B. Cooper story, and D.B. Cooper is one of the most like legendary like heist story type weird things going on. And
if you don't know who he is, read a book
you
about Harriet Tubman and D.B. Cooper, and they team up and they go through time and space.
and they find Julia Roberts
Yeah,
and
and they steal her treasure.
they steal her treasure. Those diamonds and Pretty Woman. So
No, them pearls.
let's get into the story. So this is actually a very topical story because on the night of Thanksgiving Eve,
Ooh.
November 24th, 1971, a middle-aged man carrying a black briefcase approached the flight counter of Northwest Orient Airlines at Portland International Airport. He identified himself as Dan Cooper and used cash to purchase a one-way ticket on Flight 305, a 30-minute trip north to Seattle. So first off, November 24th, that's Katie's birthday.
Who's Katie?
My girlfriend.
We get it.
Anyway, and also, did you see the name that he gave?
Dan?
Dan Cooper. So
Is that what is the D Dan? Is the B?
we'll actually get into why they call him DB Cooper later on in the
Alright.
story, but it is very interesting. So also, Northwest Orient Airlines doesn't exist anymore. It's actually Delta now.
I was gonna say, did
out.
it change into something?
Yeah, they got bought out, and then they got bought out again. I don't know what's going on, but like, I don't know airline politics, you guys. That's not why I'm here. But I do know DB Cooper. So
You do?
As he
You can make a lot of money if you know who that is.
So as he got on the Boeing 727, he walked to the rear of the plane, taking his seat and ordering a bourbon and soda while lighting a cigarette. Man, those are the good old days when you could
Smoking
smoke
on
it up
planes.
in a cabin.
Yikes.
Oh my god! I mean, imagine like just sitting in like a cabin right now, and like you think it's bad when like someone like
Is crying.
A crying
grown man is crying.
he's like, my treasure. DB, is that you? But like, yeah, imagine like a whole thing full of cigarette smoke and be like, oh, I can't get the fuck out of here. And you have like the worst headache ever.
My Uber over here reeked of cigarettes, and that was bad enough in the 10-minute Uber I took here.
Yeah, it's not good. I get a really bad headache. So, just in case, I mean, oops, what I would say just in case, just to get the image of how cool he looked.
Just in case you want to get the image.
Oh, I fucked that up.
Yeah,
No, I wrote that right.
I read a lot of typos.
So I wrote this over a year ago. I read this, and I guess I didn't catch most of this, but I just to get how cool of an image he looked, the fellow passenger described him as a man in his mid-40s, about 6 feet tall, wearing a black lightweight raincoat, loafers, a dark suit, a neatly pressed white collared shirt, a black tie, and a mother of pearl tie pin. So he's just looking like a fucking Men in Black, basically.
That's nice.
But it's crazy because, as
You know
we
what?
know,
That's one thing I don't get now. You know, people just don't get dressed up to commit crimes anymore.
I was gonna say people used to dress up to take flights.
Yeah.
That was like a thing.
Oh no, people would put on their best, like their Sunday best.
Yeah, I don't know why, because you're just sitting, but like maybe it was like more of an event because planes were invented in 1970 and this was 1971.
Yeah.
So this is all new.
Yeah. Planes were invented.
You're supposed to correct me, but you didn't pick it up.
I
so-
caught a little bit. No one too slow.
Okay, so this flight 305, was actually a flight from Washington, D.C. to Seattle, but it actually had previous stops in Minneapolis, Great Falls, Missoula, Spokane, and Portland.
Spokane?
Spokane, I'm sorry.
Spokane.
There's an E at the end, okay?
Spokompton. That place sucks.
I don't know what that is. So, like I said, it had all these stops and Portland. So this was the plane's final stop as it headed to Seattle. So it was going from Portland to Seattle after hitting all those spots. So the gas was not that plentiful in the plane. You know, they didn't fuel up at all times. So
I just realized I'm going to take that. Spokane doesn't suck. I don't want people to give us a 1-star review because that one time that guy was like, you made fun of Chance the Rapper. I'm changing my review.
oh yeah, that's
Spokane's
right.
great. I love Hoop Fest. Hoop Fest is the coolest thing ever.
We do like Chance the Rapper.
Yeah.
We just didn't like his last album. So.
I never even listened to
Hot
it.
water, hot shower, hot biscuits. Like, I don't know what's going on. Did you hear that song? It's bad.
I don't want to.
So, when the plane left Portland, it was approximately 1/3 full and on schedule. Shortly after takeoff, Cooper handed a note to Florence Schaffner, the flight attendant. You know when you're allowed to pass notes? Like in the 70s, before it was horribly scary to get a stranger handing you a note.
Yeah, that's the scariest thing you'd do.
Yeah. Well, if somebody
Well, now I kind of want to start doing it.
it is kind of scary.
That's better than airdropping weird pictures to people. That's what I do on planes now.
You do that. So
I got a whole folder full of them.
So, thinking he was just like another horny businessman, and yes, we're bringing up the H. I wrote horny businessman before horny became such a big part of this podcast.
Yeah,
And
I'm horny for it.
and DB's horny. So she thought he was just like another horny businessman, just being like, okay, yeah. She shoved the note in her pocket carelessly without opening it. She's just like, I don't fucking want to read this. I'm working. And Cooper then leaned toward her and whispered, "Miss, you'd better look at this note. I have a bomb." Which is the best thing to whisper to a woman who spurns your advances, you know?
I mean, the delivery's everything. You do that in a playful delivery. Oh, giggle. I look at the note and he goes, I'm going to fucking kill you.
I'm going to wear your skin around my house. Be like, oh. Be like, can I wear your skin around the house? Check yes, no, or maybe.
Yeah, but the no is already scratched out.
The no, and the maybe's skull.
Yes, yes, and yes.
So Cooper then requested that Schaffner take a seat beside him. She, of course, cooperated and sat down. Cooper opened his briefcase long enough for her to glimpse 8 red cylinders, 4 on top and 4 on the bottom, attached to wires coated with red insulation and a large cylindrical battery. After closing the briefcase, he stated his demands. $200,000 in negotiable American currency, which is about $1 million in today's currency. He also wanted 4 parachutes, 2 primary and 2 reserve, and a fuel truck standing by in Seattle to refuel the aircraft upon arrival in order to complete his getaway to Mexico City, Mexico. Schaffner conveyed...
Wait, no cheeseburgers?
He didn't. Oh, he did not want cheeseburgers.
Okay.
See, this guy. This was a. He's wearing a suit.
Okay.
He's not asking for cheeseburgers. If anything, he's gonna get a full. He actually did also request when they landed that they bring food for the crew that stayed on with him.
Oh, that's nice.
He's a nice guy. He's a
Yeah.
businessman. He knows business.
What a gentleman. What a scholar.
So Schaefer then conveyed Cooper's instructions to the pilots in the cockpit, and when she returned, Cooper was wearing dark sunglasses.
Fuck yeah.
He's just like, fuck, I wasn't cool enough. Like, I was smoking a cigarette, but I didn't have my glasses on.
Oh, she didn't like my brown eyes. I'm gonna hide those.
She didn't even, like, say anything about my bomb. I made this myself.
She acts like she's seen bigger and better bombs.
So, but he was, like, he seemed like he had, like, a very... Unlike your guy we talked about last episode, he seemed like he had a very thought out plan. Like, he knew exactly what he was going to do. He knew exactly what he wanted, and there was no, like,
hesitation.
Yeah, no, like, whims on this. So, basically what ended up happening was that the pilot, in order to not cause chaos within the cabin amongst the 36 other passengers, said that due to minor mechanical difficulties, the arrival to Seattle would be delayed. I'm gonna throw up. In reality, what was happening was Northwest Orient's president, Donald Nyrop, was authorizing payment of the ransom and was ordering all employees to cooperate fully with the hijackers' demands. The plane circled Puget Sound for approximately 2 hours, allowing Seattle police and the FBI sufficient time to assemble Cooper's parachutes and ransom money and to mobilize emergency personnel. So it's crazy to think that he's like, I want $200,000, and then the president of the plane was like, I have to pay him.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why it fell on him.
Yeah. I mean, who does that fall on? The
I
government?
don't know.
The taxpayers? God damn it.
I mean, most of the time you're like,
What, you want an art fee and now I have to do a DB Cooper fee?
you know what? It's kind of interesting because most of the time when people are like ransom, like they're like, I want like $1 million, and they usually do it at like a bank. So I guess it would fall on like the place you're at, because the negotiator's like, I have a megaphone.
Yeah.
That's about it, and $3 in my pocket, and also my
And a
wife
couple
doesn't
brugs.
love me.
I got a brug that's been in my hair for a week. I can't catch it.
The guy's like, take a shower. And then he has like a gun to someone's head, and he goes like, I tried that. Now they're talking shower techniques.
I keep trying to catch this brug in my hair with some French fries.
Okay, my next negotiation, I want this guy to get some nice louse medicine.
Louse?
It's the plural of lice.
Is it?
I don't know.
No, I think so. I think lice is just lice.
I think Laos is a country in Asia.
Yeah, Laos is something, but it definitely ain't that.
I think it's a capital. Oh my god, I'm so stupid. Please disregard this.
We all know we're both very stupid.
But we got Brugs. So, at 5:24 p.m., Cooper was informed that his demands have been met, and at 5:39 p.m., the aircraft landed at Seattle-Tacoma Airport. It was more than an hour after sunset, and Cooper instructed pilot William Scott to taxi the jet to an isolated, brightly lit section of the tarmac and close each window shade in the cabin to deter police snipers, which is actually a really smart idea because that's the first thing that I was thinking is like, I'm just going to wait for him to walk by, snipe him right through that window. Yeah. But you also have to be a really good sniper because
I'm more curious on how effective like a round through those the windows would be because they're designed to hold in
they're double paned because they have to keep
they've got to be strong to keep the fucking pressure of the cabin.
I guess you're right, but
I'm sure a bullet could pierce it. I'm just curious to see how well that would go down.
That should be a Mythbusters. They should have a DB Cooper. Oh, they might have had a DB Cooper episode, honestly.
Well, I think they did, but I don't think they tested shooting a sniper rifle through the window. It was more of the jumping
They don't
part.
want to give anybody. They don't want to give anybody ideas. We're gonna see if you can shoot through the president's car. And you're what?
They're like, yeah, you know what? If the bullet can pass through that glass box that the Pope travels in, then it should be fine with the plane. So let's see what caliber is going to pierce that bulletproof casing for the Pope.
They're just practicing assassination attempts on predominant figures in society.
Yeah.
And be like, you could definitely do this, guys. And then the Pope's people are like, what the fuck, dude? Oh, God. So... Northwest Orient Seattle's operation manager Al Lee approached the aircraft in street clothes to avoid the possibility that Cooper might mistake the airline uniform for that of a police officer. He delivered the cash-filled knapsack and parachutes to flight attendant Tina Mucklow via the stairs. Once the delivery was completed, Cooper ordered all passengers, flight attendant Florence Schaffner, who he originally showed his bomb to. Look at my bomb.
Look at it. Maybe touch it. I don't know.
So all passengers, flight attendant Florence Schaffner, and senior flight attendant Alice Hancock to leave the plane. Also, the parachutes they gave him were military grade, but he changed his mind at the last second and instead demanded civilian parachutes with manually operated ripcords. So Seattle police had to obtain them from a local skydiving school because I think he thought they tampered with them, which they kind of fucking did, because I read that apparently they thought that he was originally a very good skydiver and a very experienced one.
Yeah.
But they said that one of the backup shoots was
just forks and spoons like in the cartoons.
It was an anvil in there.
Yeah.
No, they said that it was sewn in a weird way where it was almost like a prop backpack or something like that,
okay.
like a test backpack. And they said that he didn't even check. He just got lucky and chose these two specific ones, and they're a experienced skydiver would have checked that for sure.
Yeah.
So they're maybe he was not completely competent like we thought he was. You know what I mean? So, but he did know a lot about planes and stuff, as we're about to find out.
Well, he had one of the little model ones they give to the kids.
He's like, where's all the snacks on the plane? And they're like, this guy's good.
This one's got 4 jets on. That was faster than the one with 2.
He's like, I gotta put this one in my pocket. So, where was I? Oh, yeah. So, during refueling, Cooper outlined his flight plan to the cockpit crew. A southeast course towards, like I said, Mexico City. But he wanted to go at the minimum airspeed possible without stalling the aircraft. Like I said, he knows a little bit about planes.
Okay.
Which meant 115 miles per hour at 10,000 feet altitude. A typical airplane travels between 450 to 600 miles per hour at an altitude between 31 to 38,000 feet. So he's basically going 1/3 of the altitude and 1/3 of the speed.
That probably fucked with all of the planes. They probably had to land a lot of them because planes can go faster than they do when they're flying like commercial airlines and shit like that. They all go a certain speed to match like the traffic, air traffic.
Yeah. So it's not like nobody's like, oh, somebody's already on that course or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I bet they shut down every airport at this time.
Oh yeah.
In the Pacific Northwest, at least.
Yeah.
I mean, because we're going to find out what they're about to do. So
Yeah.
the pilots also expressed the problem that their fuel supply would not get them all the way to Mexico City. So they agreed that an additional stop in Reno would be added in order to refuel once again. And I think that was like they're like, okay, we're gonna catch him in Reno. You know what I mean? Like if he goes to Mexico City, we're fucked. But like
Everybody gets caught in Reno.
yeah, what happens in Reno
Gets caught.
gets caught. You didn't know that? Shouldn't have came to Reno.
Yeah.
Sorry. Hey Vegas, we're poorer Vegas.
Yeah. We're little Vegas.
We got a slot machine in a Burger King bathroom. I went to Reno, and Reno's weird.
Yeah.
Reno's there are, I mean, obviously Vegas has like slot machines everywhere, but like Reno is like everywhere.
Just please put a quarter in.
Yeah, there's like a payphone with like a slot machine on the back of it. And
Yeah.
you're like, who's going to this one? So they couldn't get all the way to Mexico City, so the additional stop in Reno would be added to refuel. Cooper further specified that the landing gear remained deployed in the takeoff and landing position. The wings flapped. The wing flaps be lowered to 15 degrees, and the cabin remain unpressurized. He like demanded all of this shit, and I don't really get why he wanted the landing gear out. Maybe that just created more.
It slows it down for sure.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
I think that's why he wanted it. And then he's like lower the wings 15 degrees, which is like, oh, this guy definitely knows how like planes are
He
operated.
had to have been a pilot or like someone in the military.
Exactly. It
Yeah.
seems like it. As they were about to take off, Cooper instructed the pilot to take off with the back staircase extended as well. But when the pilot refused, saying it was unsafe, Cooper said it was non-negotiable, and that if the pilot did close it up, that Cooper would open it right back up. When they got up in the air, so they just left it open while they were taking off and shit like that. So, which is like super fucking dangerous, you know. Obviously, there's like stairs hanging out to nothing, you know.
I feel like he worked in like the baggage claim, but he knew everything about planes. And they're like, "Oh yeah, we'll let you fly one day." He's like, "You fuckers, I'll get my revenge. You'll see."
What if he just like had the staircase open to like nothing, and then all of a sudden he just pulled out like of his fucking briefcase, just like a shit ton of Slinkies, and he's like, almost, you know, all these fall. You're like, is this a Slinky experiment? He's like, yeah. Why do you think I brought a bomb? I need to get this done.
I'm from the big wigs
I'm from Big
out
Slinky.
at Hasbro.
I'm from Big Slinky. It's either this or I put them on my forearms and pretend I'm a fucking robot. You've done that?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So the Boeing 727 took off with only 5 people on board: DB Cooper, pilot William Scott, flight attendant Tina Mucklow, co-pilot William Ratakazak.
William Hung.
William Hung was on the plane, and flight attendant flight engineer H.E. Anderson. After they took off, 2 F-106 fighter aircrafts were scrambled from McCord Air Force Base and followed behind the airliner, one above it and one below it, out of Cooper's view. So they, like I said, they probably shut down most of the other airlines because they're like, okay, we're gonna get some military involved.
But not the military.
No, they were ready to go. So after takeoff, Cooper told Tina Mucklow, the flight attendant, to join the rest of the crew in the cockpit and remain there with the door closed. She complied, and Mucklow observed Cooper tying something around his waist. At approximately 8 p.m., a warning light flashed in the cockpit, indicating that the back air stair apparatus had been activated. The crew's offer of assistance via the aircraft's intercom system was curtly refused, and the crew soon noticed a subjective change of air pressure, indicating that the air door was now open. The air stairs were now like fully deployed. I guess they were like half open, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh shit, he fucking fully opened them, because they're like, there's way different pressure now. So shortly after, the aircraft's tail section sustained a sudden upward movement, forcing the pilots to maneuver the plane back to a level position and fly the rest of the way with the back stairs still down.
It's a little bit of self-made turbulence.
Yeah, well, you're gonna find out why all of a sudden it fell.
Ugh.
The plane switched in pressure. So when the plane reached Reno, they were forced to land with the stairs still deployed, since they were still frightened to disobey the orders of the mysterious man and his bomb. But luckily, the plane landed safely. FBI agents, state troopers, sheriff deputies, and Reno police surrounded the jet, as it had not yet been determined with certainty that Cooper was no longer aboard, but an armed search quickly confirmed his absence. None of the planes following the Boeing 727 saw Cooper jump from the plane, though. So a lot of people were like, what happened? Because you had two pilots behind him.
I know what happened.
What happened?
He was on meth and he swung his arm so fast he opened a black hole and he jumped through it.
He opened a black hole, he reached in, he grabbed a cheeseburger.
His dead corpse, along with all the money, is on Saturn.
See, that's a problem. You guys who want to open all these fucking black holes, you don't understand.
You don't know where it's going.
All of them end up on Saturn.
Yeah.
There's a pile of dead bodies on Saturn.
He's one of those rocks.
Even
He's
though
frozen rock that's a part of that ring.
I was gonna say Saturn's a gas planet. I'm pretty sure, so they just fall right through.
Him with all the other people who jump through those black holes on meth. They're all those collective frozen rocks just circling the planet.
Okay, case closed. We don't need to finish the story.
Yeah, it's over.
We just finished it, right? So
That's solved. Can we have our reward money?
give me my treasure. So, FBI agents recovered 66 unidentified latent fingerprints aboard the airliner and Cooper's clip-on tie and 2 of the 4 parachutes he requested. Clip-on tie.
It's smart, though.
I thought he was fancy.
Well, no, it's smart, though, because if anybody tries to fight him, the first thing you're going to go for is the tie.
You go for his wiener.
Well, the wiener and then the tie. You do a double grab.
Well, that's why you do the clip-on wiener first.
You do the clip-on wiener, the clip-on tie. They grab both, they pull, they both pop off. What are you going to do now? Because now you got a wiener in your left hand and a clip-on tie in your right hand.
See, that's the thing. I opened a black hole behind them, so when they grab both of those, they're falling right through the black hole.
And then they're one of the Saturn rocks.
They're Saturn rock. So, oh God, why are we doing this? So, since this wasn't much to go off of, the FBI began to interview eyewitnesses in Seattle, Portland, and Reno, which they were able to create a composite sketch out of. Honestly, he did look like a pretty normal guy, as you guys will see from the sketches. I'll post an image and stuff, but he kind of just looked like a guy in a suit with like a little bit bigger of like a forehead area, but like not really.
Dummy thick forehead.
But oh my God, is he an alien?
It's possible.
Saturn, my home. So, but the name.
Look at these trinkets I got from Earth.
Earth.
They use this material as currency.
This is called a croissant. It's from French. But
Taste the butter.
But the name Dan Cooper is not what we know today as legend. The name D.B. Cooper, we know so well, actually was a mistake by a news reporter.
Dan Cooper's lame.
So, yeah, Dan Cooper's not that fun. So, the FBI interviewed an Oregon man with a minor police record named Dan B. Cooper. In the
God, I bet his life sucked after that.
No. So they interviewed him in the off chance that the hijacker used his real name.
Yeah.
And he was quickly ruled out as a suspect. But a local reporter named James Long, rushing to meet an imminent deadline, confused the eliminated suspect's name with the pseudonym used by the hijacker, identifying the hijacker as D.B. Cooper. So that guy's like, oh shit, you guys think I did it still? Oh, I get what you mean now. Why he said like his life was fucked up now because they just used his real name as the hijacker.
Yeah.
Because they usually, like, for serial killers, the reason they all have 3 names is because if like John Gacy.
Yeah.
Lived in like Birmingham,
you go on Instagram
Alabama.
and type in John Gacy and just go fuck you to all of them.
Exactly. That's why they'd be like John Wayne Gacy. Okay, now that's a little bit more specific. But they just gave this guy's middle initial too, so he's like, but like it's kind of like the coolest crime, not like a gross crime. He's just like, yeah, I stole money and jumped out of an airplane.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
They're like, DB, I get you a free beer. And he's like, I like cheeseburger. And they're like, oh, get him out of here. He's on meth. So the search area for Cooper was extremely hard to determine as well. They are able to tell that what time he jumped, which was 8:13 p.m., due to the reaction of throwing a 200-pound dummy out of the plane and obtaining the same upward motion of the tail end of the plane, which the flight crew described during the initial flight.
Yeah.
But due to the fluctuating low speed and altitude of the plane, as well as the fact that they are flying off course from a normal planned route, it was extremely difficult to figure out the proper search area to look for Cooper's landing zone. Another factor was...
Man, he landed in a volcano. He just burnt
All
up. He's
that
just a bunch of little bits.
All that money, just a big pile of flame now. That's good tinder, though.
He like Golem with that damn ring.
Yeah, I'm a magma monster.
His greed.
So another factor was when Cooper opened his parachute during free fall, which could greatly change the landing zone. But neither of the Air Force fighter pilots ever saw anything exit the airliner, either visually or on radar, nor did they see a parachute open at all.
Oh, he was on all black, baby.
Yeah,
You ain't gonna see that.
all black in a black hole. They ain't gonna find me. I'm an asshole. I'm a rap. Why am I rapping
Oh,
now?
no.
That's a thing that happened.
Oh no.
Shut up. So, where's my fucking record deal? So, they did ample searches for the initial area, but no trace of Cooper nor any of the equipment presumed to have left the aircraft with him was found. So, they're checking the initial area, but like you said, when you jump out, you have a parachute. You could go pretty far distance with that. Also, it was raining. It was pitch black. There's a lot of, the plane was going slow. It was at low altitude. Like, it's almost impossible to find out where he actually ended up. So, shortly after the spring thaw in early 1972, teams of FBI agents aided by some 200 Army soldiers did a thorough search of the wooded area of Clark and Cowlitz counties for 18 days, including a submarine to search the 200-foot deep Lake Merwin. You know Lake Merwin?
Is that in Oregon?
I think so. It's either in Washington or Oregon. I'm not 100% sure because he kind of jumped on like the border. So people don't know if it's Oregon or Washington.
It's like both. International waters.
Yeah. So at around the same time of the search, though, two local women stumbled upon a skeleton in an abandoned structure in Clark County.
Mm-hmm.
It was,
Wait, Clark County is... I know Clark County. What is in Clark County?
meth?
Well, I mean, we already covered this. Meth is everywhere.
That's true.
It's in the walls. It's in the air around you.
I'll tell you where it's not. Saturn.
I mean, there might be a Clark County.
There's a rock in those rocks.
Oh, wait, there's a Clark County in Los Angeles. Are we in Clark County right now?
Oh my God, that parachute went far. Wow, look at that. So, like I said, they found a skeleton. They have skeletons there. That's what they got.
Yeah.
In an abandoned structure
Bones.
in Clark County. And it was later identified as the remains of a female teenager who had been abducted and murdered several weeks before, which is another crazy ass case to probably go into. Ultimately, the search, though, arguably the most extensive and intensive in U.S. history, uncovered no significant material evidence relating to the hijacking.
Did they ever figure out if there was like a, as the crow flies, like mileage that it went?
Like how far a parachute can go from like that area?
I just mean like, yeah. Like, did they have like a bar, like a big old bar that they could have like scanned?
I think that's what they did originally, but like I said, like this was also off course, so I don't know how sophisticated the tracking devices were in the 70s.
Yeah, but
I think they have like a general area. That's why a lot of treasure hunters are like looking mostly in Oregon.
Yeah,
I think it is mostly Oregon. I
mean, why wouldn't you want to spend time in Oregon?
But also, if he did land in Oregon, he could have gone, anywhere if he actually had landed. So it's like, what are we even really looking for? Like, people are assuming that he died on the jump, and if he did, then maybe he'd be there. But who knows? So the only physical evidence that was ever found were a placard printed with instructions for lowering the air stairs of a 727 and 2 bundles of money found by an 8-year-old Brian Ingram on the Columbia River.
Yeah.
After dividing the found money between Northwest Orient's insurer, so they got some of the money, the FBI got some of the money, and
Of course, they need more money
and little Brian Ingram got some of the money. Only a couple known
to blow it on candy
only a couple known
and
and
yo-yos
drugs.
and yo-yos
Only a couple known dollars
and more yo-yos.
remained in public circulation. Ingram later sold 15 of his bills in auction in 2008, so he held on to them for a while.
That's actually smart to be like, hey, these are the money I got from D.B. Cooper.
Obviously, the story is way more legendary than way more valuable than
It'd be
the
way
money
cool to
itself.
have like some like a bill that'd be like, this is a part of the D.B. Cooper.
Well, that's the thing too. They also, when they handed off the money, they also kept track of all of the
Serial numbers.
Yeah, exactly, because they knew that if he used them anywhere, then they could trace them right back to him.
Yeah.
So, like I said, he sold 15 of the bills in auction in 2008 for about $37,000.
Whoa.
Yeah, I mean, it's only 15 bills. I think they're all 20s too. He asked for all 20s.
I was gonna say, what type of bills were they?
Yeah, so I mean, just to have a DB Cooper dollar, I mean, 20, like, honestly, I wouldn't mind having one. He should have held on to him for a longer. He
Pretty
probably got way
cool.
more money.
Yeah.
So to date, none of the.
I mean, no one cares about D.B. Cooper anymore. I'm kidding. I was just trying to dunk on you.
Oh, fuck you, dude. I'm like, I don't know about that. I mean, it's still a pretty cool story. It's not that long ago. So to date, none of the 9,710 remaining bills have turned up anywhere in the world. Their serial numbers remain available online for public search, which is crazy to think about, because if he did die, or like, what happened with those
volcano?
Well, that's the thing. What happened with those two? Not the volcano.
Oh, Saturn.
With those two stacks of money, like, did he run off and like the bag opened? Did he try to bury the money? And those were like, obviously those.
It's like, man, it's too heavy. I got to lose these two stacks.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, the thing is, the kid was digging a fire pit, so it's like.
Oh, so it was buried.
It was, yeah, but like this was also years later.
Yeah.
So did like natural, like, you know what I mean? Like, what's going on in the situation? Like, did he bury the money? Did he drop some of it?
I think it takes a significant amount of time for things to like become like in the earth.
Exactly. That's why I'm kind of confused about the whole situation. You know, they excavated the whole area probably, you know, where they found the money, and like they dug up everything.
Oh yeah, no, they dug that bitch up.
And, you know, they didn't find anything, which is kind of crazy. So
yeah,
there's a lot of questions in that alone. So now I don't want to get into all the suspects of the FBI reports or the internet claims, like who DB Cooper is, because that's just too much information. And honestly, none of the evidence is even strong enough. But I will tell you a couple of facts about some possible details of the real DB Cooper, because if you go on the Wikipedia, they literally have like 15 people who are just like, these are our top 15, but they interviewed like hundreds of people who they thought it was.
Yeah.
And it's just like, all these people have like a little something, and they kind of allude to being DB Cooper because it just makes them feel like better about themselves and be like, yeah, I could be him, and it makes them feel like important and famous or whatever, but none of it's strong enough.
It's always wild to think, like, growing up as a kid, like, either anybody listening, because at this point it's like he could have been anywhere if he survived. It's always crazy to think, like, the one cool kid in elementary school with that really cool dad, like, bitch, that might have been DB Cooper.
It might have been DB Cooper.
You don't know.
It's kind of weird. So, some of the things that may point to who DB Cooper maybe was that he was knowledgeable about aviation and flying techniques. They believe that he was not knowledgeable about skydiving, like I said, because he didn't check the right parachute, and it was all like sewn up and stuff in like the wrong spots or something.
It was just all fucked up.
And they also said that he jumped when it was like it was so dangerous and risky to jump. It was pitch black, horrible weather conditions. That
never tell me the odds.
Yeah, they said, but he was also desperate. So like, who knows?
Yeah.
Agents theorized that Cooper took his alias. This is the most
I
interesting.
thought you just said Asians.
No, he didn't take any of those. So agents theorized that Cooper took his alias from a popular Belgian comic book series of the 1970s featuring the fictional hero Dan Cooper, a Royal Canadian Air Force test pilot who took part in numerous heroic adventures, including parachuting. Because the Dan Cooper comics were never translated into English nor imported to the U.S., they speculated that he may have possibly encountered them during a tour of duty in Europe, or possibly that Cooper was in fact Canadian and found the comics in Canada, where they were also sold. They noted his specific demand for negotiable American currency, which is a phrase seldom used by American citizens, as well as witnesses stating that Cooper had no distinguishable accent, making Canada most likely his country of origin.
Yeah.
So this is
That
like
makes sense.
the meanest thing a Canadian has ever done, I think, at this point.
Well, don't forget about Wolverine.
Oh, he's mean.
He's a mean man.
But he means well.
He's a mean man.
So he's good, though.
Have you seen that hair?
So on July 8, 2016, the FBI announced that it was suspending active investigation of the Cooper case, citing a need to focus its investigative resources and manpower on issues of higher and more urgent priority. Local field officers will continue to accept any legitimate physical evidence related specifically to the parachutes or the ransom money that may emerge in the future. The 60-volume case file compiled over the 45-year course of the investigation will be preserved for historical purposes at FBI headquarters in Washington, D.C. On the FBI's website, there is currently a 28-part packet full of evidence gathered over the years. All the evidence is open to the public to read. Although many people have claimed to be the real D.B. Cooper, only circumstantial evidence could ever be provided, leaving the real D.B. Cooper, whether dead or alive, to still remain a mystery to this day.
How old would he be today if he was, like, what's the guesstimate? Because they don't know. They obviously don't know his actual
This is in the 70s.
age.
This is in the 70s. He looked late 20s, early 30s. So he would be about close to 70 now. I'm guessing. Is that right? Yeah, almost 80 probably. 70 to 80, probably in that range. But yeah, that's why a lot of them are like a lot of people.
Donald Trump.
A lot of people on their deathbed were like, "I'm DB." Like a lot of people were like, "I'm DB Cooper."
That's gonna be my last words.
Well, let me finish this with this last little note I wrote. So I just have one word of advice for all you fame seekers out there. If in the end you find yourself not fulfilling your lifelong dreams of fame and fortune, just remember, in your final moments, make sure to have little Kevin lean closer. And with your last stale grand pepper breath, whisper to him, "I'm D.B. Cooper, and Bigfoot, and Atlantis. You're adopted, then die."
While spraying pepper seeds in his face.
But, I mean, that's the thing. Like, honestly, if I'm on my deathbed, I'm going to be like, "I'm D.B. Cooper." But, like, I would also have to be 80
I'm the
right
real
now.
Slim Shady.
And then I stood up, and he went, "Grandpepper, you're not allowed to do that. Your knees don't work." And then my knees shattered.
And a bunch of little white kids with bleached hair run in with tall tees.
And then Dr. Dre goes, "Hell yeah."
This is going to be the longest episode we've ever made.
Anyway, I'm done with DB Cooper. I'm just glad I got that out of my system now.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting story. There's so much fucking information. I couldn't cover it all. There's so many details, and it's like one of the most fascinating, like, whodunits, and people just really love to dive deep into it. So if you want to go check it out yourself, you could probably find a little bit more information online, and there's an article that says, "We found the real DB Cooper," and then you read it and they go, "He would joke about being DB Cooper." I'm like, that's not evidence. But like, they're all dying right now, the people who are like accused. So like they're trying to get like whatever they can out of them. And
that would be pretty awesome if someone like passed away and like had legitimate evidence being like,
if they had the money.
Yeah, like something like that.
Yeah, that would be fucking
pretty
crazy.
Wild.
So,
after all this time,
at least one of the bills that wasn't found, you know, like maybe he sold all the rest of them and got like the, you know, to like some black market thing and they washed the bills or something. But like if he had one to prove it, fuck, that'd be cool.
That's one thing. It's like, I know this happened like where I'm from, but there's like if he survived, there's like a 0% chance he would still be in that area. You know?
Yeah, he wouldn't. A lot of people think that he died like jumping out of the plane, but like there's still no skeleton. Unless
he got zapped by lightning in the air and just disintegrated.
Unless like like animals drug his body somewhere else and ate his bones, and then
We all know foxes love $20 bills.
they ate his bones, and they opened up a portal of Saturn, and they fucking yeeted him right in there.
Them rocks are just a bunch of bears and foxes.
Everybody says
Wolves.
that the rings of Saturn is really just a big old boneyard. Tell that to your astronomy professor. So I heard that rings of Saturn are just a big boneyard. DB Cooper? No.
I really hope that we don't have any listeners that are in that position to raise that against a teacher, but I gotta say we've gotten this far without having to stop once or edit anything, and we are right now at an hour.
Oh, shit.
So we're starting the second story, right?
Oh,
Meow.
no. This is raw. You guys are listening to this raw podcast.
We should have filmed this one.
We don't edit shit.
So today I'm gonna talk a little bit about Brugs.
Are you really?
No.
I was gonna say, please. We have to edit a lot of this out now. It's all Brug talk. What was our quote?
Brug talk,
Brugs made
me
me
handsome,
but
coffee
made me fast.
Yeah. So today I'm going to talk about a city in Maryland. And this city led me on quite a goose chase trying to find information on this fairly forgotten story in time. This story is about Ellicott City.
What? Ellicott?
Ellicott.
I've never heard of this.
Yeah, so I know you haven't heard of this because this shit was fucking hard to write about. But I got one good lead and I had to run with it. So the city of Ellicott sits outside of Baltimore.
Okay.
So it's close to a big city.
The Wire.
Oh, yeah. And it's in the countryside, and it homes the population of 65,000 people today. And this city is home to the oldest surviving train station in the country.
Whoa. Wait, what?
Yeah.
That's weird because, like, obviously you would think that it would be, like, in New York.
Well, that's because
or-
they've all been either destroyed.
Oh, I see.
So this is the oldest surviving train station.
Surviving.
Yeah.
this
So it's
time.
not the oldest ever, but it's the oldest one like that exists.
Okay.
And so you can only assume with something of that history, a lot of things have taken place there. Ellicott's
Like sex?
a lot of sex. There's 65,000 people. I can guarantee they're not all.
You guys haven't lived until you had sex at a train station. When that caboose comes up.
No, you shut your mouth. You've had your turn.
I'm so wacky.
So Ellicott City is also known to many as Old Ellicott or the historic Ellicott City.
Okay.
Now, it's commonly known with a lengthy history, like all old towns, that they usually come with some baggage of some dark, spooky stuff.
I feel like it's not a city unless you got some dark stuff brewing underneath the surface.
And Ellicott City isn't short of any of them spooky stuff. And today we're going to focus on the legend of one family who was suspected of abducting children in the woods surrounding the city boundaries.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Snatching the children.
no. Slender Man?
Maybe worse.
Oh, shoot.
So in the early 1800s, Ellicott City, not 1800s, the 18s,
Wait, what?
1800s. I
Just
don't
like
know,
18? Like the next year was 19?
yeah. Yeah, it's just
Like,
19 now.
Crazy. Only 18 years and we built this old train. What's a train?
It don't go nowhere.
Look at us. I'm making up this language as I go.
It's just kind of a dead mammoth. But so one by one, children started to disappear without any trace of where they could have gone. Soon, dozens of the city's young were gone with no explanation. But this city had their suspicions directed at one family, and the family was it was one of the Edwin Graveley.
His Graves in his last name.
Yeah, Graveley. And so Edwin Graveley was the youngest son of this outcasted family in the city. And many believed the boy was to blame because he was typically the last person seen with the kids that went missing.
He's like, I'm just popular. Why are you coming after me? I got a lot of friends.
I'm so cool. When they meet me, they just leave town.
He's like, I got a lot of friends. I like basketball. I like killing small rodents and killing people. Oh, wait.
I like to piss my bed and set fires.
I also like to create black holes and yeet them right through there. You know the Saturn rings are made of kids.
They don't come back with no explanation.
Honestly, you're getting to the... Honestly, D.B. Cooper might have landed.
He might have been a Gravelay.
Yes.
So the Gravelay family were well known in Ellicott City, but it wasn't for a good reason. The family was considered outcast and looked down upon by the rest of the city. Many people disliked the Gravelay family because they were known for being just like very strange people and had constant complaints that would be voiced for loud and worrisome sounds that would come from the family's home late at night.
Oh, like all of a sudden they would hear like, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right. And they're like, that's Outcast. Don't listen to them. That's fucking Outcast.
These are just outcasts, not outcast with a K. So for whatever reason they had, the authorities would refuse to listen to the people of the city. And they, no matter how many times they're like, we think they're responsible, they just wouldn't do anything about it.
I mean, what kind of strange noises are we talking about here? We got some nosy neighbors or some loud motherfuckers?
I think there's a lot of chains rattling, some chainsaws. Some Fergie music.
Some chains. A lot of chains.
A lot of chains and Fergie and chain smokers. They're like, God, that music fucking sucks. Turn it off.
And Chain Gang by Sam Cooke. That was playing. Don't know that song.
I don't know that one.
Okay.
So they complained a lot, and they told the authorities that they believed that they were responsible for the growing number of missing children. But the authorities ignored all of that, and so they took it into their own hands.
Oh, fuck. They gonna do a Freddy Krueger thing right now? Where all the townspeople get together and throw a Molotov through his window?
Basically.
Oh, really?
So one night, a large mob of the missing children's family and supporters decided to raid the Gravelay mill. So it was a mill, which makes it a little sketchy.
Yeah, mills aren't great. You don't want to hear screaming coming from a mill.
So they went and searched for any evidence or foul play, with clues to find their missing children. But much like the children themselves, the family was gone without a trace. Oh. The mill was completely empty, and people said it appeared that no one had ever even lived there to begin with.
What?
Yes. Very strange.
What the fuck?
Just nothing.
Like black hole? Nothing?
Black hole. They say if you look close enough that ring of Saturn, you'll see a whole mill floating around.
I was about to say, like... Some say that you open up the mill and there wasn't even no light in there because the black hole ate up all that light.
It was just pitch black. Vin Diesel. So there are many beliefs of what happened here. Some people think the family was innocent and was tired of the constant harassment and judgment, so they packed everything up and ran out of town to start a new life.
Wait, oh, that's what they believed happened to them.
Well, there's many beliefs. That's one of them.
Okay.
So then there are people who stayed true to their accusations, saying that the family was abducting children. No one has the proof of where the children went after that. They could have been murdered and disposed of. I guess properly would be the term, but like I feel like that's kind of a dark way.
There's a proper way to do it.
A proper way to make it seem like they never existed, kind of thing. They could have been doing that. They could have been eating them. They could have been
bones and all.
They could have been sold. They could have been taken with the family when they left town to hide.
Okay.
Kind of like taken into their family and. You know
what I thought was interesting when you first brought up that every single person was seen with the son.
Yeah.
I thought originally that the son was murdering them and like getting rid of the bodies, but he was a lure. He was a trusting figure, like we see with some other serial killers, like the Candyman. Fuck, I can't remember his name, but like they would lure him back. You know what I mean? So he was doing that.
There's another theory.
Oh.
There have been connections drawn without confirmation that the stories could be connected to the famous film and book, It.
Ew.
Some people think that it was possible that there was a much darker evil force that was able to leave no trace hidden within the walls of the Gravelay Mill. something imitating a family in plain sight.
Oh, okay.
So something that could be pretending to be a little boy, pretending to be
Hi,
each family
Georgie.
member. Exactly. And, whatever it was tried to imitate human life, but obviously wasn't good enough because it still stood out and bothered people. Like, people just didn't like them. Things were unsettling about them.
Interesting.
And
okay.
so could it be possible that there was an unworldly force using children for consumption?
Especially if like they opened up the mill and there was nothing
Just
in
nothing.
there. That would make sense to, I don't know if people have seen in the mill before, but like maybe there's some kind of
Hole.
supernatural no, but there's some kind of supernatural thing where it can make you see certain things, like you said, like it could take the shape of like a human.
Yeah.
Maybe it could also like make it look like the barn's full with like animals or like tools, and then once it disappears there's actually nothing in there, like an illusion or something like that, you know.
So-
Mind games.
Yeah. So the family disappeared, and for a while, kids stopped disappearing.
Okay.
And over time, the city moved on, and people started to forget about the mysterious family and the children who vanished until 1869.
When was the original year?
18s.
18s.
Yeah, it was so old that there's like there's
okay.
there's like not that much information about
Okay.
it. But in 1869, 7 children disappeared in 1 week. So that's a kid a day.
Damn.
The older folk of the city immediately feared that the Graveley family was back and didn't go as far as they thought. So maybe they didn't jump town. Maybe they're still kind of hanging out in the woods.
And they were hungry again.
Yeah. And so they didn't know who to blame or what to blame. But strangely enough, it ended here. And people in the city would eventually blame troubled soldiers from the Civil War for the missing children.
What does that mean?
So, like, people that came back from the war, like, very distraught, were maybe, like, snatching up kids.
Oh, because they're just fucking crazy?
Yeah.
That kind of talks about, remember, we had that story way long ago about the soldier that, like, they found him, like, eating the kids in, like, the cave or whatever. I think it was, like, a Tales from the Camper, like,
Yeah.
I don't remember, but that was, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, but at the end of the day, nobody was ever convicted for the crimes. So they just kind of suspected it could have been, like, distraught soldiers, but they never actually had a distraught soldier to,
So it was all just like guessing at this point.
Yeah.
Like they didn't have any hard evidence.
Yeah.
Also, it was the War of the Weird episode. I remember that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as time went on, the common knowledge of the Graveley family would fade, and people had forgotten them for the most part. But the strange part is children would continue to disappear over the years, once in 1910 and again in 1969. So it is possible that the first episode was 1810, and then
So it's
1869,
50 years?
and then 1869, and then again in 1910, and then again in 1969.
Wow.
And there were a high number of children who went missing in the area with absolutely no resolution and no trace, no answers.
And only children.
Yeah. And people just kind of said, oh, they're just simple runaways. That was the only thing. They couldn't come up with anything else.
7 kids in a week is way too much.
Yeah.
That's
Could it
not
be?
runaway shit.
No. So, in today's information-filled society, the Graveley family has kind of been reborn, and the legend continues to grow because now people have a way to, communicate it more and, share their stories.
Yeah.
And many people believe that the family still lives in the woods surrounding the city. And it's a common tall tale that the locals tell their children now to warn them not to stray too far from home.
Who would tell their kids that?
Well, some people are desperate to get those little shits in line.
I guess so, but like Jesus Christ, like then you're the one who has to wake up every hour and tell them that the Gravelords aren't going to yeet them to Saturn.
Yeah, they might.
Jupiter, Saturn. Where do we say?
Saturn want the ring.
Sorry.
Jupiter got no ring. Nobody wants to marry Jupiter.
You keep saying ring, but it's a boneyard.
It's a boneyard. It's just a boneyard.
There's a bunch of kids in D.B. Cooper.
So some people think that
and
is
a buttload of money.
Some people would say it's a silly cautionary tale, but as of a recent discovery, a group of archaeologists who had been working in the woods surrounding the city of Ellicott found some evidence that could link the missing children.
Whoa, okay.
So this evidence would be some documents mentioning a disagreement of land ownership between Mr. Ellicott, who that's the city, who the city was named after, and a man who was named Mr. Gravel.
Oh.
So this could have been, I mean, obviously,
He found this letter in the woods?
yeah.
When you say archaeologist, you don't think of finding letters.
Well, I mean, they probably just dug up like a book or something.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And so now it comes to it saying, so you've got the Mr. Gravel, and then there's the Gravelay, which Gravelay is just an IGH at the end of Gravel or
It
whatever.
could have
However
been
you want to
another
pronounce that.
writing of it, yeah.
Yeah. And so people think maybe it was some sort of cult ran by Mr. Gravel. Could have been simply been just a name change that they added the extra letters. Or could have there been a cult who had awoken an evil that still feeds off the youth of Ellicott City to this day. We may never know, but to play it safe, I'd advise you keep your children far from these woods. Or they just might end up in space, surrounded by the cold, oxygenless.
All these, or end up in a blockbuster film by Stephen King. That's crazy, though.
Yeah.
The thing that gets me the most is the year gap. You know, maybe kids disappeared in between then, but like
The slew of like high number disappearances.
yeah, it just seems like way too coincidental.
Yeah. And with not knowing the first few dates when it happened, and then but seeing like that 2 out of 4 of the dates are like 100 years in between each other.
Yeah.
Makes it like kind of more suspicious almost, like, because I mean the book it's every 30
37 years?
Yes, it's like there's a number that it happens.
Yeah. I mean, and regardless of that, like these kids are going missing, and you said 7 in a week.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Somebody's taking them.
Yeah,
Like regardless of anything, if it's
it wasn't 7 in one day. It wasn't 7 friends going, hey, let's get out of here. It was 7 in a week.
yeah, and like regardless of anything, it's like it's probably a serial killer or some kind of kidnapper of some sort.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? Like regardless if it's a monster or if it's a person, like it's terrifying.
Yeah, and there's just absolutely no evidence.
God. Jesus. So when was the last one? 1910?
Yeah, I guess 2010. I don't know.
We have to check those 50s records.
Yep.
See, that's when they got spooked off, you know?
Yeah, people are catching on with the Instagram posts. It knew the Instagram was gonna take them down.
All these damn folks, damn Steve Jobs. We gotta find a good way to get to California and get them Steve Jobs, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they did.
Them steamy jobs.
Maybe they did.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. Okay, well, thank you guys for tuning in. This is a long episode. We apologize for that. But if you like more content, then congrats. You got some more content. If you guys want any of the hyperlinks, go to campstrange.com. If you guys want any merch, go to campstrange.com. If you guys want to follow us on Instagram, just go to Camp Strange Podcast on Instagram. And also rate, review, subscribe if you can. We'd like it if you do that.
Please do that.
If you can't, that's okay, but we'd really love it if you did. And if you don't, we're gonna yeet you through a black hole to Saturn.
And stop making episodes.
I think that kind of covers. We love telling you these stories, so
Yes,
thank you for that, guys.
yeah, we do.
We really appreciate you guys, all your listeners and stuff, and thank you. But David, what else do we have here?
We've got a potato pepper. It's just a pepper that's there's no hollow part. It's thick like a potato.
We have a tiny man that can run on walls. But just walls, just walls.
He's basically a Roomba that cleans your walls.
So he can't touch the roof, and he can't touch the standing part. What is it called? The carpet, the wood, the hardwood? He's just wall guy.
He doesn't touch that. The floor is lava for this little man. I got a river full of potassium.
Oh, I wasn't expecting you to go into that that quick. Okay, we have a hard spaghetti, and you put it in your mouth, and you pretend you're a farmhand, and you go, hey, You're making spaghetti in the kitchen, and Mom goes, "Stop putting that spaghetti in your mouth. Put that back in the pot." You ever do that?
Yeah.
It's fun.
I would like to throw it against the wall to see if it's ready.
Oh, that's good. If it sticks, yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah. We've got eyebrow replacements if your eyebrow gets cinched off while you're cooking that turkey.
We have all of Jeff Dunham's stand-ups routines, and
But it's backwards.
But you have to watch them. That's bad enough. He has a racist pepper, a grand pepper.
We've got a big old janitor key ring full of keys. They're not going to open anything, but it makes it look real important.
We got a toilet that's clogged at your work, and now you're just too scared to like walk out of the bathroom because they're gonna know you clogged it. So you gotta be like you gotta walk out and then like tell everybody in the office like somebody else clogged the toilet, and then like Kevin in accounting goes, "That looks like your shit," and you go, "How do you know what my shit looks like?"
Because he dropped the chili. That Kevin in accounting. Fucker.
What? Anyway.
The Office.
Oh, he dropped the chili. Oh, that is Kevin in accounting. The Office seeps into my subconscious.
It really does.
Oh.
We got one big old spike.
Okay, that's it.
You can do whatever you want with it. That's for you to enjoy.
We're done. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We love telling you the stories, and we love it when you listen. David, do you have anything else to say?
Don't forget to sharpen that big old spike of ours.
It's our spike.
It's our spike, but it can be yours for $2.99.
And also, don't forget to stay strange.